Okay. So I'm making Nana pull her phone
My
out
phone is out.
and open your UPI, your Google Pay, Phone Pay, whatever it is.
Okay, ow, okay. We'll open UPI.
Okay. Go to your transactions.
Okay.
And in the last 1 week, over the top of like on the top of your head, what have you spent on the most? And how much is it?
It's literally supermarket, Swiggy, supermarket, Swiggy, supermarket, Swiggy.
Nana eats.
I shop groceries for the house.
I love a girl that eats. How much do you think it is overall? Like just
Okay,
rough
so if we're looking
calculation.
at just 1 week, I've spent about 6,000 on just groceries.
What the fuck?
Easy.
6,000 on groceries.
Yeah. And that's your monthly groceries, including like,
Yeah, I mean, because
Harpic and
this is
shit.
relatively the beginning of the month.
yeah.
Okay. I think I'll do the same thing.
Okay.
Let's see. I wonder what it is like for me.
Swiggy.
Okay, I have.
Swiggy.
Who's Shobha bro? Why is Shobha taken 2.6k from me?
Is it your main?
September 4th को क्या हुआ था जो मैंने शोभा को 2.6k दिया? I don't even remember honestly.
So what are these transactions you're making that you don't even remember? Acha, was this a bus ticket?
Bus ticket? What bus ticket?
Oh no, you came in a plane.
I came by flight. I don't remember.
Did you take the cab?
Cab would not be 2.6k. This is becoming something else.
Na 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 na. Garbage Head, bringing hot garbage to you every week, month.
We're going to try as hard as we
We'll
can.
try.
And with that, we're coming to segment 1. Where the hell did all of this start from? Okay, it started post-independence when the country was in a bit of shambles politically and economically and everything, and people were trying to make do with whatever they had. Now, agriculture was a very big part of where money came from in India, but not obviously all land in India is fertile for agriculture. So now you had a few hubs that the Britishers had left behind in terms of cities which were growing really well. And those were like Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata at that point. And you had people in their surrounding areas moving closer to these cities or moving in these cities to find jobs or find any kind of gigs that could keep them afloat. The term urban poor at that point came from these people who mass migrated to these cities over these decades and kind of lived probably in shanty slums and tried to build a life, from the ground up over there. And they were termed as urban poor because maybe in their village back at home they would probably have a better house, all of that, but they decided to leave all that for better opportunities over here. And that's the entire terminology of it. Today, of course,
And
it's
today
different.
it's just become this concept of you kind of afford to live in an urban lifestyle, what you would call an urban lifestyle, but you can't afford anything more than basic necessities of life.
Yeah.
You can't afford to buy anything. You can only afford to rent things.
And you can only afford to live paycheck to paycheck. If
Yeah.
you get kicked out of your job, of course, you don't have.
And you're constantly moving from month to month, trying to live out of the salary. Yeah.
Yeah. And the basic point over here is that perhaps today what we refer to as urban poor colloquially is not legitimately the urban poor that we historically have spoken about. A better term for us is actually salaried poor. Because we are making the money, but we're only living paycheck to paycheck. And if your deposit is going to be 5 lakhs, then what the hell are you going to do?
Yeah, I mean, at least before people could afford, I mean, at least in our parents' generation, they could afford to buy land, buy gold, invest in gold,
Yeah.
FDs, and all of that. And now we can barely make it a month without, running out of the rent,
Basics.
the salary that we have.
Yeah. And this is largely coming from, of course, the changes in economy, which
Yeah.
we're all aware of. And also it's coming from how much value of money has dropped over time. So back in the day, of course, your lifestyle and your income at some point could outlive your necessities, and then there was the aspect of savings. Now, I don't know if you've heard about this, but savings are an actual thing,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you have any, because I don't think I do.
Barely.
600 rupees. But yes,
Yeah.
the idea is that is kind of where most of us are, and there is no playing any game around here unless you're coming from generationally wealthy families. This is where you are placed, and
Mhm.
this is what you're battling on a day-to-day level. So
Yeah.
let's
And I think it's also to do with the fact that um, our salaries are not getting enough increments. It's not reflecting the kind of inflation that's happening in terms of rent, in terms of cost of things, and all of that. I remember, like, when I was currently I'm freelancing, but back then when I was working for companies, I worked for 3 years with barely any increase in my rent. Barely any increase in my salary, but my rent just kept hiking up every year, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, it just doesn't reflect.
if at the
equally.
end of the day your salary is increasing by 2.5 3% and your rent is increasing by 10%, which it usually
Exactly,
does,
which it usually is in most urban urban
urban
cities. I'm
cities,
sure.
yeah, what the hell do you do?
Yeah.
You have no choice but to be a 25-year-old calling papa and being like, please papa. Yeah,
I think most people. I mean, there's no shame in it, but most of our generation right now do rely on families for a bit of financial
support,
support, right, here and there.
especially to kick it off, you
Yeah.
really need that. So the
But back in the
major-
day, I know that at least my parents and the generation where my parents come from, they would not only support themselves, but they would also send money back home and like try to invest
support
in
a full family, yeah.
support a full family, try to invest in gold, try to like fend for their kids' education,
Put them to
all of
good
that.
schools,
Yeah.
get all of that. Now, I mean, what is a big class marker today? If I have to ask you that, I mean, I think, you know what I think it is?
Mhm.
It's having a family. In the sense, having
I get it.
kids,
Yeah.
having kids and living in a house that you own
Mhm.
and doing basic things that a family would
Yeah.
30 years ago.
Yeah.
That's a class marker. Not many of us are able to afford that, and honestly, not many of us are going to be able to afford
You
that. I
can't
know
afford
people-
having kids these
You
days.
can't. And I know people who are well into their 30s who very obviously, very realistically, are still renting.
Yeah.
Because buying a house is also no longer.
And
As-
there's no buying a house anymore. There's
Yeah.
buying flats and apartments. There's
Hmm.
no buying land.
Yeah, I don't think I know a single person in our generation or in their 30s who owns land. I mean, by their own money.
By their own money, yeah. That's
Yeah.
the thing. Whoever owns them now, it's usually passed on from generations before
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
It's essentially what's going to be a marker. Like, you are living in a city and you're going to have a dog or a cat,
Mhm.
and that's just going to be your family now.
Yeah.
Having
And-
kids is not going to be affordable. I mean, I'm literally seeing news of how expensive schooling is getting, and that's just one aspect, right? I mean, we focus on education being expensive, and it's super expensive right now. It's like you're paying 2 lakh for like a child's first standard fees.
Yeah.
Or in any good school, it's not even like these are premium schools.
Yeah.
Any decent school is taking 1 lakh upwards every year.
And I think it starts way beyond that itself, right? Even pregnancy itself has become so much more expensive than it
Yeah.
used to be. Hospital care, all of that. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just you will do better by just by being yourself, by just being by yourself than
You'll
having a
do
family.
Financially, I can't even say better. It's not like, okay, it's not like you're going to thrive with so much money in your pocket.
Of course not.
You
but
will just
can,
have a better life.
yeah.
It's not even like you're going to have an
Like you
insanely
can-
rich life by sacrificing on the kids. It's just that you'll have a better life than perhaps not bringing a child into the world, and you're going to have
Mhm.
difficulty with the money and raising them. So those conversations are very real and out there, which is another reason why we are kind of seeing that there's a falling of sorts of institutions that kept society together. So
Mhm.
education, healthcare, living, all of these were social institutions, right? And
Yeah.
now you can't afford, I mean, especially in India, you really can't afford quality education, quality healthcare, or quality
Yeah.
living without burning the most big hole in your pocket.
Yeah. Yeah.
And most of us can't afford it to start off with. It's not even like we're putting money into it, we just don't have the money for that. You can't afford really good education in an Indian institution without taking out a student loan,
Mhm.
which is not how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Healthcare is in crumbles. You like anything that you go in for, you will end up paying more than
Yeah,
you would have
regardless
ever thought of.
if you have insurance or not.
Insurance is insane in India.
And you're
India
just
is
paying insurance
for
every
nothing.
year, which you know for a fact won't cover anything.
The only thing
when it's never
insurance is doing
necessary.
in India is reducing a little bit of your tax. That's
Yeah.
all. Because apart from that, insurance is not benefiting Indians.
I know I'm doing it for tax benefits.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Insurance is not doing anything for
Yeah.
you as an individual. In India, India is one of those countries where you go to put out a claim and they'll find all the loopholes to not
Yeah.
give you your money.
Yeah.
I think there was a very on LinkedIn a few days ago.
Mhm.
There was this person from Bangalore itself who would put up this post. I think this was his insurance called Niva Bupa, and he had a claim of his insurance package essentially was completely of 2.5 crores. So that was his cover. And I think he was getting his dad treated or something of that sort for cancer and whatever, or maybe another treatment. And he claimed for rupees 62 lakhs.
Okay.
He has a cover of 2.5 crores that
That's
he's
less
built
than
for.
half.
That he's built for years, right?
Yeah.
So of course he can claim 62 lakhs out of it, and they disregarded it.
And what was the?
I think the reasoning was just that they found some technical loopholes around it, and they disregarded the entire claim of 62 lakhs. And he put up this post on LinkedIn. It went viral, and then these people from Niva Bupa started to comment on it and say that, oh, it was the weekend and we don't do anything in the weekend, and only on
so
Mondays
if
do
somebody's
we
dying in the
reply.
weekend, die?
Like, oh, you need to give us at least 2 days to think of processing it and all of that, or processing it, and we're sorry if this inconvenienced you. But essentially, that is the gist of finding insurance in India. I remember I was paying a top up on existing insurance at a workspace of mine just to, have a better package
Yeah.
and tax deductions and whatnot. And I had to go in for a dental checkup. Now, getting a dental insurance is very
It doesn't
difficult,
cover
but this
dental.
was one of those insurances that was giving me a complete dental care checkup cover, right? And I had to get my root canal cap replaced, so I needed a new tooth, essentially. And I inquired with them beforehand if this is possible and if they have any specific listings of hospitals for this, because they didn't. And they said, yeah, no, it's fine. Root canals we cover, and we cover root canal caps, this, that. So they confirmed. I went in. I would have paid probably like 15K overall with the consultation, and they put in, some filling, some other teeth, and then they put in the root canal cap and all of that. And I put up the claim, which is again such a tasking process because they
Yeah.
give you the worst, like they give you a form that you're supposed to fill out and then
Yeah.
scan and upload and this and that, and it's insane. So I did all of that for them to say that, oh, we only cover like ceramic caps. You got a zirconia cap.
And you specifically asked them beforehand if they cover everything.
Yeah, and they did not have the audacity in them to tell me that they only cover ceramic caps.
Because they were hoping that you wouldn't ask and then they could give that reason.
So this is how they fuck around with you, and they've done that, and then they have the larger audacity to be like, but we'll cover for the filling and consultation, which is 1,000 rupees. Okay, now for this 1,000 rupees, what do they want me to do? They want me to take my bank statements. They want me to take statements from the doctor, okay, and proof of payment from my bank. Get it attested by both, so attested by doctor, attested by bank. Make a file out of it, and not scan and send it to him over email. Post it to their office.
For 1,000 rupees,
For
nobody
1,000
is going to do
rupees.
that.
I
They
did.
also know.
Yeah.
And this is how our healthcare is in this country.
And this is why we are salaried poor. Because although we get money in our bank accounts, there's nothing substantially value added that we're adding
Yeah.
to our life over here.
Yeah.
And okay, I get that we're coming from an extreme place of privilege
Of course.
over here.
I think all of this is coming from with a lens of privilege. We,
Yeah.
even though we might call ourselves poor, we might say, oh, we have only 200 rupees in our bank account. We know we have a certain lifestyle that most people can't afford.
Yeah. We've had education that
Yeah.
most people couldn't have afforded,
Yeah.
and we've grown up a certain way. Fine. It is coming from a place of being very privileged.
Yes.
Actually, if there is a categorization of urban poor that if we really had to do it today, I would probably say it's all the people who've mass migrated to cities for gigs. And these are your Zomato delivery people,
Yeah.
your urban clap people,
Day wage workers.
your day wage workers, laborers, everyone in the gig economy,
Yeah.
for that matter. And they're the ones who categorically are urban poor because they're the ones who are being extremely exploited for
Yes.
their labor.
Yeah.
And this is a lot of physically tasking labor, and they're being extremely exploited for it. I did have like a conversation with an urban clap lady,
Mhm.
urban company lady, whatever they want to call them. First of all,
Same thing.
I mean, I'm guilty of still using that company despite knowing that they really mess up with their, employees.
Same thing with Swiggy.
But
Same thing with Zepto.
Yeah. So, and when I was speaking to her, all she had to tell me that if the ratings are not, above 4.8, they don't get any gigs. So that means that every single person that she services, they need to be 100% satisfied. Give a 5.
Regardless
give
of
a-
how the customer is.
Yeah, regardless of how the customer is, give it a 5-star rating. Secondly, they are not allowed to cancel on ratings after 3 ratings in a month or a week or something like that. Whatever, come what may. Because if they do that, then
Cancel
they
on bookings.
cancel
right?
on bookings. Yeah, because if they do that, then they won't get any any further gigs, and they'll also be penalized for it. It's slavery. It's pretty bad. They and also the biggest loop, like the biggest thing that pisses me off about Urban Company, is that
Same thing.
so your salon services or any other services, the employee, as in the lady who comes to service you, she has to buy equipment from
Oh, yeah.
Urban Company,
This
and
is
then
this I
she
know.
has to use it.
And they can't take from anywhere else. They have to buy it from.
And I
Urban
get
Company
that
itself.
from maybe a quality control perspective, that okay, our stuff is
So
quality
provided
control.
for free.
Exactly. You are taking money from
They are
them
your
to purchase
employees. Provide them for
Yeah.
your partners rather.
it. Exactly. So you're taking it from them. You're taking their money first and foremost for your products.
Yeah.
And then you're taking a big chunk of their savings.
Yeah.
I mean, their earnings.
So you're basically treating your partners as your customers, and you're
And-
forcing them to be your customers.
Yeah, and you're really forced to be a part of all of
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, that's fine.
And because it has disrupted the market so much, in the sense that we have, if you have the option, like for someone like me who's living in Bangalore, I usually remember these things last minute.
Mhm.
And if I have the option of doing it, just in the middle of my workday, calling someone home,
I think
I
it's
will
not
take
just about remembering it. I think our lifestyles itself have become such that we are also working day to day to earn whatever we are earning, and we know if one day we don't show up at work,
it's difficult.
it's going to be difficult at the end of the month. So I think in that process, we try to find something that's more convenient for us, that's easily
Yeah.
available for us, which then sort of backfires to the partners there.
Yeah, it does. And it's weird because you want them to have employment,
Yeah.
but honestly, would they be happier doing this in the in a setting of their own and with their own money? Yeah, but no one is really going to those local. I don't know if people are going to those local parlors anymore.
Yeah,
The
of
concept of beauty parlors, I don't know if beauty parlors are there. They're
Yeah.
either high-end salons or stuff like this happening. So,
Yes.
yeah. You know how back in the day it was like roti, kapda and makan. I feel like it is Blinkit, Myntra and EMIs today.
The holy trinity, like
the holy
us.
trinity of the holy trinity of surviving a city in India.
Yeah, I think before it was more about necessities and planning and all of that, but now it's more about the aesthetics of it, the showing up of it, the how it will look. of
The
it.
aesthetics have definitely seeped in from social media and they're there.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if you're burning a hole in your pocket, you still have to look a certain way, speak a certain way, show up a certain way. You cannot not be that person. Like, I know one of my friends, she was in her first year of work, so a fresher, and they'd all gone out for a team dinner and drinks. And I think the bill would have cumulatively, I think, come up to like a 40-50K.
Yeah.
And it's very easy for people in the senior
Yes.
positions to be like, let's just split it across the board.
Yes.
First of all, if you're going for a team dinner and you have your company's owner and, you know, founder
the highest
sitting with
person
you,
in that
they need to
company
pay
pays.
it.
Yeah.
If you're going with your
Yeah.
founder and CEO,
Yeah. They pay.
they bloody pay it, you know. It's
They're not asking lower employees to pay for
but
it.
but this dinner it didn't happen like that. You
I've
had
never
everyone.
heard of this.
Seriously, they had like, so it was a small team, so it was like 15 people, and
Still.
it literally had even the you know, founder, CEO, all of that. All of them are there for the team dinner, and then it's like, okay, everyone has eaten, drank whatever they needed to. Now let's just split the bill across the board. So
Don't companies get to write all this stuff off?
I mean, I guess they weren't registered that way because they were
Okay.
really small and new.
Okay.
Perhaps, I guess they were maybe of the brightest.
No, the
I
thing
don't
is,
know.
you can't have employees without being registered, and once you're registered, you can just
I don't know. Maybe they
start
just didn't want
writing
to
all
spend
this
that
off.
much on a team.
Yeah.
So now what happened is that, okay, my friend would have probably had a drink and eaten some food, and then she came back home with a bill of what? I don't know,
2000
2-3K.
each. And that's unnecessary. Though. That's
Yeah, it's
really
unnecessary, especially if you're going for the team drinks and dinner where you don't even like half the people.
Exactly. And that's
Like, it would make sense for
something that you
else.
have to do to show up.
To show up, exactly.
Yeah.
So the showing up is a big aspect of it. And okay, sometimes you're pushed into these situations, sometimes it's literally out of your own, I guess, FOMO.
I think from the best example that I can think of in these times is I'm seeing a lot of Meesho finds, 5 things I found on Meesho sort of reels on Instagram, which I think is a reflection of how, and if anybody knows Meesho, you know you get products there that look like they might cost 2,000, 3,000, but you get it for like 100, 200 rupees. And I think that sort of nicely reflects what is happening right now is people are buying these to make it look like they've bought
Yeah.
something expensive, something
Yeah.
luxurious. And honestly, Meesho's app is one of the top apps right now.
Yeah?
Yeah, it really
Wow,
is.
I did not know that they outdid Amazon or anything.
No, it didn't outdo Amazon, obviously, but it's one of the top apps in India.
Yeah. Yeah, and that is really reflecting where we are. You know, another really good example for it, and I like to call it the, you know, there is lipstick index and everything that people talk about, right?
Yeah.
So, which essentially means that if an economy is suffering, you'll probably see that sales in makeup and small things like lipstick and stuff is going to increase because this is literally what you have control over to feel good about yourself. You can't afford beyond that, and this is your threshold for spending money.
Yeah.
So I think India specifically, okay, lipstick index is great to measure these things, but I like to think the imitation jewelry index. Like, look at how many demi-fine and imitation jewelry brands have come up around us. Literally in the last 3 years, they have literally skyrocketed. I mean, imitation, gold-plated, silver-plated, demi-fine jewelry that can look like it is lab-grown diamonds.
Yeah.
You know, those kind
Yeah.
of things. Now, India is a country that wears a lot of gold.
Yes.
Like, every Indian girl has a little gold chain, a little necklace, some rings, this, that her family has bought for her, and she's been wearing it her entire life now. But when it comes to buying it out of your own money, gold is literally so expensive. Like, a 22 carat of it is going to like 1 lakh upwards.
Imagine.
So obviously no one can really afford gold right now
Yeah.
in these prices. So what comes up? Imitation jewelry.
Gold-plated,
Gold-plated stuff, silver-plated stuff that
Yeah.
you can wear on the daily that wouldn't have cost you as much. It probably would cost you between 2 to 10K at the best.
Yeah.
Showing up in an aesthetic itself is such a task that you have to do.
Yes.
There was this ex-colleague of mine. We were making roughly 40K a month, and literally I have seen her spend more than 60 to 70K on designer clothes and bags.
There's something like
Papa.
that.
So she would overspend her money and halfway through the month have to call dad up to kind of take money out of it. I mean, not the best financial decision,
course
but
not.
who are we to judge, honestly? And it's.
Yeah,
What do you
do
say?
whatever. Do what works for you.
Yeah.
But
The only thing I know is that there is so much, like today, at least with people who are not coming from generational wealth. I mean, you have a decent enough family to bank on
yeah.
for a short while, but you wouldn't want to do that as an individual either,
Yeah.
because that is stressful in itself.
Yeah.
And when you're not coming from massive generational wealth, there is a very subconscious financial fear that has kind of seeped into us. And I think it started with the pandemic because we graduated in the middle of the pandemic when there were no jobs around. But now it's just seeped into the uncertainty of the economy. Like it's just there that we are a little bit financially stressed all the time.
And I also think how you brought up that it started with the pandemic. I also think pandemic brought a bit of like seriousness in terms of a health crisis can happen at any minute.
Exactly.
And that sort of brings in this fear of are we prepared? Are we actually prepared for the financial risk that comes with it?
Yeah.
So I think that also brings in extra stress, that brings in so much mental
So
load.
counterproductive.
Exactly.
Like we're so worried. So you know what? One of my bigger financial fears is if tomorrow I break a bone, or I fall sick, or someone in my family falls really sick.
Exactly.
The amount of money that is going to take to cover all of that is going to be insane.
Yeah.
And
that's going to put a lot of burden.
And there is a saying that there is an understanding in the current economy of India that the average middle class Indian is just one health crisis away from becoming poor,
Yeah.
like top
Yeah.
and poor. And while you have people in the top 1% swindling money, and you have a government that is serving only them,
Yeah.
the rest of you are just kind of left in this maze of figuring out where you fall, and that itself is so stressful.
For biggest economy for what?
For nothing. And tomorrow, because of this financial stress, if you want to take therapy,
Yeah.
you can't afford it.
Therapy is expensive, and
Yeah.
I get why it's expensive, but you, every Tom, Dick, and Harry can't afford therapy right now.
Can't afford 1.5K to 2,000 rupees a session.
No, I know I stopped therapy for a very long time because I couldn't afford it because I had to make rent.
Same, I also stopped at saying, okay, because the battle is between your mental and physical survival, and honestly, your physical survival has to win then.
Yeah.
Your mental survival will go through. Wait,
I even stopped. I think at one point I stopped a gym membership because I couldn't afford it. I think that's about it in terms of
Yeah.
health.
Definitely, it is the case that comes down to it. So yeah, if you have done any of those things, you probably are urban poor. And honestly, if you are a little confused about where you're lying, we have a little quiz here. Yeah, and this will make it very clear where you stand. So don't think you're like rich. Okay.
So take out your notebooks and start taking. Okay.
Yeah.
To every tick that you have, you're going down the urban poor ladder.
Correct. Okay, let's start. Okay, number 1. Do you look at real estate reels on your Instagram? 3 BHK, 4 BHK, sea facing Bandra, Goa villa, and it's Ravi Keval Ramani being like, today I've bought to you. Do you look at reels like those and comment price in the DMs, and then when you get the price, you just close the app?
Yeah. Welcome to the club. You are urban poor.
Yes.
You are just window shopping at this point.
Yeah.
And for the girls, if you are spending more than 10% on your skincare, grooming, hair care, etc.,
10% of your monthly salary.
10% of your monthly salary, then I think
You're
we're
urban
getting
poor.
there. Yeah.
Towards the end of the month, or let's say the second half of the month, if you have ever sat in a bar with a pizza in front of you and another beer, and you know, when like, okay, let me pay, and you go to pay, and your bank balance is insufficient. Then you're like, how is it even insufficient?
This is coming
And-
from personal experience.
And then you open it, and then you see there are 4 rupees.
Of course, it's
4
insufficient.
rupees.
Okay, if
I
you're
think
talking
you're-
personal experience, I have one.
Okay.
If you, okay, to everyone that's like living outside of their parents' house, if you go to your parents' house and you look at the kitchen and you're like, oh my god, there's so many groceries. Like you get turned on by a sugar packet, then you're probably on poor.
Can relate to this because every time I open my parents' fridge, I saw like 7 different sauce bottles, like a chipotle, a Southwest, a salad dressing, a Caesar sauce, and a Caesar salad like dressing and all of that, and I'm just like,
Yeah,
all I can afford is Maggi ketchup.
exactly.
So,
Welcome to the
you're,
club.
the final question over here is: of late, have you heard yourself saying phrases like, "We're going to die anyway"?
And you
It's
constantly think
not about, it's not about how much money you make in life. You never take the money away with you. All money you need is enough money to get you cremated or buried. उतना ही पैसा चाहिए किसी को. If you've
If you
ever had
thought about
thoughts like
changing your lifestyle, if you thought about leaving
that,
all of this
literally
behind,
becoming a monk,
yes, and maybe going to the farms again.
you are not. I don't think you are as spiritual as you think you are. It is all coming from a place of poverty.
And with that, keep reflecting.
And please don't spend twice on the same thing and then call up the company and send money back.
Spend half an hour waiting.
Trying to figure out where my money went. With that, we end this episode. Bye.
We'll see you next time.